Hi, in this video I will discuss the difficult ayahuasca trips, the unpleasant ones, the so-called bad trips, why they happen and how to deal with them. Basically everybody has bad trips now and then, unless the person is completely healthy and has mastered his or her mind by other meditative techniques, and it's always able to take the position of impartial observer of everything that happens. Unless you're on that stage, sooner or later you will have examinations during your ayahuasca ceremonies. Well, they will be these difficult ceremonies. They will be much more frequent in the beginning of your ayahuasca ceremonies experience. I mean, everybody, when he or she starts drinking ayahuasca, everybody has this period of intense purification, which may last from one ceremony to hundreds of them. There is no fixed duration for this period, where the experiences are much more turbulent and challenging, and yeah, maybe I can say even more difficult. But once this period is over, your ayahuasca experience will be much more smooth and predictable. Towards the end of this video, I will give some very practical advices on how to deal with the so-called bad trips. But first of all, let's see, why do they happen? What is the reason? Usually the reason, in the majority of cases, the reason is that ayahuasca is purifying us, it's curing us, it's cleaning us, and gross and ugly stuff comes out, which is not pleasant to look at, it's not pleasant to feel it. It's already there in us, it's not something that has come out of the sky, or it's not something that ayahuasca is causing to us. It is our own luggage, our own dirty stuff that we have been identifying with for many years. So we simply see it as it comes out. That's all. There is nothing else to it. That's in most of the cases. However, in some rare cases, it's funny, actually, there could be no problem at all, but we may freak out and panic just because it is very new to us as humans to experience another dimension. This is especially for those who are new to ayahuasca. They may end up in a different world for them, and this very fact scares them so much. They don't feel anymore the security of the world they know, and they just panic and get scared, although there is nothing scary or painful at all. But that's relatively rare. And another possibility, which is even more rare, is that you may get attacked by another malicious entity during your ceremony. It's usually black magic. This is extremely rare in ceremonies with white people. I mean, the chances of this happening would be far less than 1%, but it's still possible. And please don't be scared. This is not spooky at all. And don't feel like, oh, maybe I will become an innocent victim of black magic. No, it's not like that at all. Actually, even if the entity who attacks us doesn't even know us, we don't recognize him personally. I don't know, you know. It's not that the person who is attacked is innocent. I mean, we create our own reality with our thoughts and beliefs. Every single disaster or misfortune that happens to us, we have already invited it with our beliefs. In the same way as an artist manifests a painting out of his thoughts and imagination, in the beginning it is just a subtle concept, and later on it becomes something tangible in the surrounding three-dimensional world. In the same, all events that come to us, they are first manufactured by our internal belief system. So if somebody gets attacked by such a malicious entity, the reason is that he has tuned his own radio station to accept this type of frequencies. That's why this entity has spotted him and has decided to start messing up with him. I mean, these are the laws of the universe. Everything is allowed. This is the law. And if somebody wants to read more about this concept, I think the books of Barbara Marciniak are very nice work on this subject. You can find them. You can find them even for free on YouTube in audio format. I highly recommend them. So these were 3 of the possible reasons for the so-called spooky bad trip. So, if you want to avoid bad trips, what to do if you don't want this happening to you? Well, I will repeat myself, but this is the most important. If some unpleasant situation arises, you have to be only an impartial observer. You should not identify with it. And in this way, whatever negative energy or blocking is about to come out, it will come out easily. And you will manage to go through the process without any pain. And that is the only surely working antidote against bad trips. All the other advices that I will give have only they're not so good, they're not so effective, because some of them may simply delay the problem. They will not cure it. You may even stop the cleaning process by trying to stop the bad trip. So being the impartial observer is the only cure and is the only recommended cure for bad trips. But still, I will mention a few other points, because I'm aware that most of us are not yet on a level which will allow us to be an impartial observer when we want. Indeed, many of us drink ayahuasca because we want to get to that level, but we kind of feel a bit powerless. Okay, advice number 2. Well, if you're getting bad trips, just drink very little. Don't drink a full dose of ayahuasca. Drink a third or a half, something like this, and you may have difficulty reaching the other dimensions, but then you will have to help yourself with extra concentration, especially in the area of the third eye. Kind of try to see what is there. I find it like a gateway, because when you go to these other states of consciousness by your own endeavor, you will have more control over the situation yourself, and whenever you want, you will be able to withdraw back if it is too scary. So that was the second advice: drink a little. Another thing you can do is, if you're getting scared by something visual, for example, you see a monster and that scares you, and you can simply open your eyes, and that will work in most cases, unless currently the effects of ayahuasca are very strong, and then you will open your eyes, but still you will see the same. So that may work sometimes, not always. The next advice, or a helpful tip, is if it is getting like, you know, sequence of bad trips, one ceremony after another, you can actually try drinking ayahuasca without chacruna. That will almost surely save you from bad trips, because the experience won't be very strong without chacruna, and yet it will be purifying. So you might be able to go through your blockages and curing without those horror moments in hell. But it will take you longer time. You may need few ceremonies of this type of ayahuasca without DMT to accomplish the work that you would normally accomplish in one ceremony with the standard ayahuasca brew, which contains both ayahuasca and chacruna. Okay, next tip. If you're drinking with native tribal shaman from South America and you're in a small group or in a private ceremony, you can actually ask him to suck out the ayahuasca effects from your body. This is not some skill for advanced level. Every even beginner shaman should know this, and usually within 2 or 3 minutes or 4 they are able to suck out ayahuasca out of you, and you will be relieved. You will come back from hell alive. But of course, when the groups are big, or the shaman doesn't really think he should provide such type of extra services, this might not be an option. Okay, next tip. In some cases, actually drinking water can reduce the effects of ayahuasca, but not in all cases. I would say, let's say in 60 or 70 or 80% of the cases, it does reduce the effects within 5 or 10 minutes if you drink a lot of water, like let's say 300-400 milliliters, then it will reduce the effects. But in other cases, actually it can increase them, so we never know. Other thing that may help is to sit in yoga posture, preferably Padmasana, if you know that, and do some pranayama exercises. I know that this can be difficult when you feel totally freaked out, but if you manage to get yourself together to do these things, it will have an effect. Sometimes it may take a few minutes, but it will have an effect. It will help you regain control over your own self, and that is the panacea for everything. And one last helpful tip is sometimes you will have bad trips because you're seriously sick at the moment. You may even experience, at least for me, the bad trips were coming in a very gross form. They were coming in the form of physical pain. And that was quite hard to deal with. So if you're drinking in South America with native shamans and you're having private ceremonies specifically for cure, then you may actually have few ceremonies without drinking ayahuasca, and let the shaman himself, only with his own power, work on you. This is also an option, and actually this is the way that currently ayahuasca is used for cure, at least in Peru. Only a small portion of the patients would drink ayahuasca, let's say 20%. The others would simply sit and the curandero will cure them. I'm not saying that is really the traditional way ayahuasca used to be taken. Just on the contrary, actually, some historical records show that in the past the full tribe used to drink ayahuasca with singing and dancing all night. And even nowadays in some tribes which are relatively less affected by the Western civilization, they continue this practice. They would drink like 3 times a week. Even the children would drink. And yeah, I mean, the people from those tribes are usually very physically strong, can work a lot, and also quite mentally alert. And in some cases, for bad trips, even small things can make a difference, like burning auspicious herbs or smudging with sage, Palo Santo or others, or even the use of essential oils, lavender, mint, and many others. Well, I think I covered the basics of the bad trips. Have good luck, and don't forget that you create your own reality with your own beliefs, and evil can harm you only if you believe that it can.